flex, flex. The live is 1 in the 6. With the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm an 88 pack nigga, woof. I'm an 88 pack nigga, woof. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker, change like a hoe. I'm just a nigga from the hood, trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. See y'all in the building. I'm gonna skip the roll call. Here we go again. Every time somebody comes into our space and tell us when we bring up real life situations, and they tell us basically our thinking is outdated, we're traumatized to what happened when we were younger. I was only born in 75. In my aunt's lifetime, they had just got the black people, no, well, maybe my grandparents' lifetime, black people had just got the right to vote. You know, what makes you think things have changed in the instant? There's no racism. We had a black president. Really? There's a litany of hangings in this country happening right now. And all the black people they detached from those nooses, they labeled them as suicide. If a black person is suicidal, the last thing we do is hang ourselves. Right now in real time. And I get on this little thing of boxing and I say, yo, look, man, the treatment of black fighters is A, B, and C. Oh, no, it's not that. You're just complaining. And I relate boxing towards real life. It goes one and the same. Well, I'm going to cut to the chase. Listen, man, we all know by now what happened. I wasn't even going to talk about this evening. It just happened. We all know what happened with Bud Crawford. Anytime something like this happens, I'm going to tell you what it is. They were looking out to kill this man. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care what you say. They were looking for a reason to put a bullet in this man's ass. Yeah, you had bullets bouncing off your head. Let's see if this bullet coming out of this Glock 19 could bounce off your head. You heard the video. I don't have no gun. They took that man out of his vehicle, cuffed him, and took him down to the precinct. Let me ask you a question. Does that sound like an arrest? To me, it does. And then he was released and not charged. What was he arrested for? What was the charge? I need to know more about this. But never mind that. They pulled them over because the car was recklessly driving. You mean to tell me those police didn't know that that was Bud Crawford? He's like the only athlete coming out of Omaha that actually did something. It was his birthday and they just had a parade. You mean to tell me those cops didn't have a meeting on roll call and say, yo, look, if you see Bud with his entourage, extend them some courtesy. They did it to Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. I was out there several times. Allen would drive expensive cars, run red lights, illegal U-turns. Cops would pull him over. Oh, that's Allen Iverson. Go ahead. Now, different strokes in different cities. I understand that. But now, I'm going to talk about some things tonight that are very real. And at this current, well, I never give a damn what anyone says. But I'm going to remind you some things. Because I said a lot of things, and I'm going to get to the super chats when I can. I'm going to remind you of certain things about Bud. First and foremost, let's get this out the way. I'm super proud of Bud Crawford. I supported him in everything. I picked Errol to demolish him, and I damn near felt he was looking at me in the arena, in the T-Mobile, when he broke Errol down. And I ate that, and I congratulated him. I did a short video, a live video. I gave him his credit. And I heard about everything that Errol was going through, but if Errol ain't say nothing, I ain't had nothing to say. 100% credit. I never said Bud was trash. He always had my respect, but what he did to Errol, he overachieved. I said, let's go, bud. Let's go. I never hated this dude. I did have a problem. Bud don't fuck with us, and that's fine. A lot of black people have trust issues. Hell, I do, and that's fine. But there were some things he went a little too far with. Y'all do your own research. But I recall saying here a couple of years ago, that brother gotta be careful, because there's something called a nigga wake-up call. Now, whether it's in plain view, where we all see it, or behind the scenes, it'll come at the damnedest of times, even when you least expect it. And the devil has a weird way of showing his ass that he's real. When he starts messing with you. And God ain't waste no time, did he? The devil come knocking and God shined over this brother. Because I'm telling you, this could have went left. I'm hearing the stories and I'm listening to it, and it doesn't sound right. They said they saw a gun on the floor of the car. Then I'm hearing that they approached the vehicles with the guns out. That's why you drew your gun, because you saw a gun on the floor, but your gun was out when you approached the vehicles. Everybody pulled over, everybody complied, and once you saw it was him, y'all was supposed to fall back and say, oh, it's Bud. Can I get a selfie? Drive a little more safe. Shout out to you. They didn't do that. They locked him up. And now according to Blue Blood, Sensei will be back. Now according to Blue Blood, they are investigating and suspending the police. That might mean, suspended with pay. That's a glorified vacation. You want to let me sit home for 2 pay periods, but pay me? I'm cool with that. It's a vacation. I don't know what's happening. I don't even know the full story. I want to hear the cops' response. But for Bud to leave that situation in handcuffs, first of all, for him to leave in handcuffs is amazing. I'm glad he didn't get shot, but he was arrested. That's what it was. And then he was released and not charged. But that's Bud Crawford. Just had a parade. And it was his birthday. And they did this. Let me tell you something about these racist white folk. Or the people that work for racist white folk, white supremacy, agencies and shit of that nature. Let me tell you something. They will kamikaze an entire operation if they have, rather than thank a black person for getting them through anything. You got to understand the psyche behind a racist. You got to understand the psyche behind a racist organization. You got to know what it is. You have to know what it is. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, let me switch gears. Let me bring up Mellow Yellow. What's the first thing I said? I got the video. When Tank Davis is standing outside, tatted up, in shorts, in flip-flops, with his hands in his pocket, and those folks walked up on him. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? And he was nice and calm. And was that Coach Cal trying to intervene, saying, excuse me, officers, hey, shut up. We're not talking to you. What did I say? I don't fuck with Tank's business moves, but that bitch tried to get that kid killed. Did I not say that? Forget about everything else. She tried to get him killed. Anytime a woman or some cracker calls the police on you, unjust, they're trying to get you killed. Who's this bitch, that Olympic bitch that runs at 100 miles an hour? beating up her fucking boyfriend in the airport? Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? Did y'all peep what she said? What's her name? What's that chick name? I'll never forgive her. What's her name? Chat, help me out. What's her name? Shakuri, whatever the fuck. Richardson. Her. Did you hear what she said? He's the man. Why am I getting arrested in this situation? Did you peep that? I said, oh my God. Shakari. Yeah, her. Did you peep when she said that? He's the man. Why am I getting arrested? You was kicking his ass and he wasn't hitting your back. What the fuck? Look. And that dude got up here. I don't want her arrested. No, brother. Let the law do what it do. And you get away from her. So now we have a situation where Bud Crawford is celebrating his birthday, celebrating beating Canelo Alvarez, celebrating the city giving him a key. And these cops literally arrest him and he leaves in handcuffs. I have a video of Bud, I believe, in his neighborhood. And he's dancing in the neighborhood, in the street. It was like a block party, but it ain't no typical block because he was the only colored there. And they all know who he is and they feel nice and safe. But I'm looking at that and I said, man, the optics of this is just kind of weird to me. But it's nothing. What I tell you about these athletes not really fucking with their own. And I know, again, I have trust issues. As y'all see, we just went through some shit all week. Hashtag quit acting light skinned. Now you see why I use that term? Every brother ain't your brother. See why? There's a lot of dysfunction in the black community, but you can't divest from your own community because those other communities will never accept your black ass. And Omaha just showed Bud how they get down. I don't care how many keys they give him. I don't care how many parades they give him. They just showed him. Now I'm going to pass it to the sensei because you just said something to me in reference to what he should do if he's standing on business. Please say what you said and then enlighten the audience if they don't understand it. What should Bud do with those keys to the city?
First of all, good evening, everybody. Salute, Drew. Glad to be here. Not glad to be here under these circumstances of what has transpired. It seems that those policemen from Omaha that pulled Bud and his entourage over were trying to send a message to not only him, because he was the person that they came for, but they came for him for a reason, for what he represents. What he represents, and I have to say it this way, is Black excellence. He was not supposed to make it. The bullet that bounced off of his skull was supposed to send him to the mortuary, which is where they would like to send it, which is why they had guns drawn, which is why they arrested without probable cause or anything, and no statement released of why they did arrest. So what we have here is a situation where a message is being sent once again, just like when Muhammad Ali, who you have here in the backdrop, came home from winning the gold medal in the 1960 Olympics. He went to go celebrate his victory by going into a restaurant to sit down and order a hamburger.
Yep.
And when he went into the restaurant, they told him, "We don't serve N-words here.
Yep.
And he said, well, I don't eat them either. He said, I just want a cup of coffee and a hamburger. And they told him he had to leave. This was during a time that many of you could not even relate to, where you could not sit at a dining counter or drink from the same water fountain publicly or use the same public restroom as people who were non-melanated. So Ali, who had been on television with his Olympic victory, news cameras followed him around because he was a colorful individual, a lot of charisma to him and everything, and just 20 years old. He went to the bridge and took that gold medal off his neck and threw it into the Kentucky River. This man, meaning he, has no home, no country. When we talked about Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury the first time, and at the press conference, how people were booing the WBC heavyweight champion, an Olympic bronze medalist. You go to the Olympics, you're supposed to be representing the country that you are birthed from. He couldn't get a swell of people to cheer him as the world heavyweight champion. He got people booing him and jeering at him. Tyson Fury didn't bring 20,000 people over to the US for that fight. People don't even support him in his own country like that. So what we're looking at here, once again, with Crawford and what they did to him, was they said, no matter how many fights you win in your professional career, no matter how much money you have in your bank account, no matter even if you've moved off the block where most of your neighbors and community live, we're going to show you on the evening of your parade and your celebrated birthday where your place is. And that is under their scrutiny, under their boot, and on the other side of the barrel of their firearm. It's about the strongest message that you can send without completing the process. Completing the process pertains to what you opened up with speaking about the lynchings. The lynchings have been happening because they're trying to send messages also. Not trying, they're sending the messages. The poor, unfortunate victims. I don't know the people. I can't make assessment on those who lost their lives under those circumstances. But what I will say is we're living in a climate where our young people are walking away from advisement, walking away from history, walking away from teachings, walking away from that can protect and assist in their perseverance in survival. And when you disregard that type of domestic education, you are vulnerable to a lot of what happens out here in the world presently. We've heard stories over the past few years of individuals, and it's been women and men going around these folk and ended up losing their lives.
Yep.
And it's either a mystery that no one knows what happened, or the story comes back that they've taken themselves out, or some strange sort of events transpired and this is how we found it. But in each and every instance, they were in the presence of those people. You see, the nation got angry when Barack Obama took seat in the White House. It took on an anger that you could not rationalize, that the fallout is so heavy that even to this day, you don't understand what you're seeing before you. The man who is presently in the White House is in the White House because of Barack Obama's existence in the White House. There was a time when a person like that wouldn't even be given consideration to run on a ticket. But it goes back to the great comment made by Lyndon Johnson back in the 60s after he took over for the assassinated JFK. Do you recall what that quote was, Drew?
I do.
Yeah. And his words ring true after you've seen the arrival to the White House of Obama and you've seen who took over the White House in the aftermath. That's one of the most chilling things that you have to rationalize and conceptualize, because though it can be spoken, but to see the words come to fruition. You said something in one of the chats. I forget if it might have been the brother Coach Hudson's chat earlier, where you said that they would basically, I'm paraphrasing,
Kamikaze.
they will kamikaze this whole thing just to send out the message of your demise.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about that for a moment. That is a sick nation that thinks that way. A sick nation. There is not a man, woman, or child from the melanated community that is safe. Did you hear what I just said? Not one. So in all of what we're dealing with, and all that has come to light through this situation, the message has been sent to us all. Now, there are people out here who will walk away from this. They'll be denigrating and disrespecting and saying things about both you and I, because we're here under these auspices speaking about this horrible situation. But they are also part of the problem. We've been talking about it. You mentioned it earlier in this show. You said you've been dealing with it all week.
Yep.
The brother Champside been dealing with it all week. The brother Blue Blood been dealing with it all week. What did I say about going off to war? I said that you have to take care of home first.
That's right.
Because if you're successful, when you venture out into battle, when you come back, you want to be able to rest and enjoy the revels of your victory.
Yep.
You can't do that if your house is unclean.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cleanse. And the type of cleansing is a difficult one because it is something that is almost inhumane when you consider what needs to be done. There are people who like to throw around biblical scripture and conveniently use religion as examples of what they want to convey. But I'm going to use something here to show you exactly what is meant by this. If you look at the 12 disciples that were chosen by Christ, he came to them and told them that he would make them fishermen of men, saving souls.
Mm-hmm.
But some of those disciples were wretched beings.
Sure were.
Men who put others to death, men who had committed crime, men who were villainous. You know why that was? It was to show the representation of being able to turn from one side to another. It is imperative to understand that, because when you understand that, then you know exactly what I said a moment ago about the most despicable thought of how to cleanse comes to mind. Even when you're clearing out vegetation at the end of how do I want to say it? It's like at the end of a harvest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to sometimes burn foliage.
Right.
Turn the soil over.
Yeah.
It
There's a
smells
reason
awful.
for that.
Yeah, it smells awful.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a ripening in doing that. It has to be done amongst people as well. It does. So, bringing it back to what you originally asked me, what Crawford should do is take those 2 keys to the city, because they gave him one, I believe, after the Spence victory. They gave him a key to the city.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him one yesterday with the parade that they were going to have for him and everything. He said that the first key that they had issued him was, I believe, on the date of one of his son's birthday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was giving that to his son. And he asked the mayor on the dais, he said, what I want to know is, what does this key open? And I had a chance to watch that, where he was on the stage and dais, and he was giving thanks and addressing his family, his friends, his loved ones, his mom. What he should do with those keys is tell the city of Omaha to take those keys and shove them up their asses. He should leave Omaha. He has made a way to do so because of his economic position. And he should charge each and every one that is in the municipal positions there with racism, discriminatory act, humiliation act, hate crime act, because what was done was only done to be disrespectful and for everyone that was a part of that scene, meaning the officers, shouldn't rest until they are run out of that town. They should not be allowed to work there. They should not be allowed to live there. There is a such thing as exercising your civil right, just as they do with those golden folks. He needs to enact, whether he needs to call down the minister, and you know who I mean when I say the minister, because it is time to fight. Here is a man, I just did a video the other day that I said when Max Kellerman called him a villain on the grand arrivals before the fight. And I said he had done no wrong. If anything, he had showed a value of heroism with how he's represented and come through, persevered, and been successful. All the while not even denigrating himself or tearing down opponents. He's never been that guy to talk down, oh, who is he? Who is he for? Look at his resume, all that stuff that some of these guys that are his contemporaries and everything do all the time. He's never done those things. He's kept his nose clean, and he's gone out there and fought. Well, maybe the Canelo Alvarez fight, where he garnered his third undisputed championship in the third weight class. Maybe it's time to take that undisputed position and exercise it in a manner of which we haven't seen since this great man on the screen behind us here. Because sometimes you just have to fight. Sometimes it's a call to arms. It's a call to awakening. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The choice is his. But you notice how I've spoken in this entire moment that I've been addressing this. I've used no profanity. I've used a calmness, but I've been very succinct and sincere in my words. It is time to do the right thing and proper thing. And if he chooses anything otherwise, he has to understand that, like I said, though they did this to him, it was a message to us all. And if you really want the support of your people, you have to take a stand. Sometimes there's a difficult thing to do. But when you do the difficult and God is with you, it's more than the world against you. And this is an opportunity, because I'm going to tell you something. There are going to be people who sweep this away. They're not going to really speak on it. They're going to kind of gloss over it and everything. But I'm here to tell you all that are listening right now, this is one of the most succinct moments in the history of our date that you shouldn't take this lightly. And each and every professional athlete in the sport of boxing, the NFL, the NBA, it doesn't matter. You could be in tennis as a melanated professional athlete, even if you are an entertainer in the music industry, or if you happen to be in Hollywood. The message has resounded. It's the shot heard around the world. because they did this to this man with purpose.
Yep. Yep.
Those are my thoughts.
Idiot Sports talking that super chat. He says, man, the corrupted cops in Mexico wouldn't even do that to Canelo, shaking my head. And I said that earlier. Yes, sir. They wouldn't have did this to Canelo. They wouldn't have did this to him. They wouldn't have did this to him in America. And he needs a green card to work here. And let me say this. All right, the sensei be back. Let me say this. Not afraid to tell you that my fear is that Bud is going to let this go. My fear. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. In a perfect world, what the sensei said, returning those keys to the city, he don't have to be belligerent. Just say, yo, look, take this back. You know, I just did all of this, you know, and, you know, I'm the only person here doing anything, putting this city and state on the map. And I did something special. And on my birthday, this is what is allowed to, who does this? Reprimanding those officers by suspending them? No. Firing them, even that's, no. In a perfect world, Bud returns those keys, and in 48 hours, pick a state and go somewhere and leave. You can just keep Omaha, Nebraska in your heart. But this is what they did to you. When Muhammad Ali was disrespected, you heard the sensei say it, when he was disrespected, all he wanted was a hamburger and a cup of coffee. They said, we don't serve no niggas in here. He said, okay. And he was an Olympian, gold medalist. He took it and threw it in the damn river. And they haven't found that gold medal, by the way. It's somewhere. It's gone. Do y'all understand why when, you know, some years later, when the country was in turmoil, why black people got so mad when George Foreman started waving the American flag in the Olympics, why they got mad at him? He wasn't denouncing his blackness. He just did something and, you know, it was taken a certain way. But these are things, whether it's in the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2020s, Bud Crawford, that he just accomplished something great. Handed the keys to the city, celebrating his birthday, and they sent him a message. You know, the FBI did some investigating and they said law enforcement has been infiltrated by neo-Nazis. Did y'all know that? Ahmaud Arbery, shot and killed. By the time we saw the video, it was already a year old. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? That's why I got into a big old thing with Paulie Malignaggi. First it was, hey man, why'd they shoot that brother like that? Then they said, oh, well, he was out for a jog. Well, and Paulie says, well, nobody jogs in that gear. I said, Paulie, you live in New York. People go jogging in Central Park wearing stilettos. It's weird. I don't know why he was out there, you know, dressed the way he was, but it turns out he was running for his life because those Nazis was hunting him down. And then we got to the, yo, player, see the new evidence. He was trespassing on some property. Come to find out, if it's an unfinished property, anybody could go on the property and look at it. Turns out he was hiding from those guys. He was being hunted. He was being hunted. He was being hunted. And then when they caught up to him, Paulie says, oh, he shouldn't have grabbed the gun. It was at close range. They wanted to shoot him. He grabbed the gun to try and save his life, and they shot him. They executed him. And the broad recorded it. And by the time we found out what was going on, you found out that those guys were Klansmen. They had ties to the law enforcement, and the law enforcement tried to cover it up. So don't tell me that we don't deal with this to this day. And I got to argue with a Sicilian. And then we got to the root of his bullshit when he was talking about, oh, what about what your people did to my people? What did black people do to Italians? No, in Sicily. Oh, you're Sicilian. You talk about when the Moors went to Sicily and taught y'all how to wipe y'all ass? How when the sun hits you a certain way, you turn tan? Because you got African in your bloodline? What, you don't like that we left a legacy for y'all? That's the real reason why Italians don't fuck with Sicilians. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. I learned that from my Italian and Sicilian friends. There was too many inside jokes I didn't understand. I said, wait a minute, what are y'all talking about? And they told me. I said, huh? Where's my button?
What?
Same thing with my Puerto Rican and Dominican friends. What are y'all fighting about? Then they told me. None of my business. But that's what they told me. Y'all go ahead. This is what we deal with. Everything circles around race. What happened to Bud is typical. Now, my fear is that they do brush this under the rug, but that's up to him. Here's what don't need to happen. There's going to be a bunch of people. Sometime today or tomorrow, you're gonna see the usual channels that you might follow. O'Shea Duke Jackson, Tariq Nasheed, those type of brothers, and they'll get on there and talk about it, and they'll talk about racism. And some people might try and reach out to Bud. Bud might say, look, I don't want to be the poster child of this racism thing. It was an isolated incident. Let's just move on. The damage to that is that's going to open up Pandora's box to make them motherfuckers think it's okay. Now, you didn't get shot because you're Bud, but how many black people get shot over simple car stops like that? Philando Castile. They blicked him off in front of the baby and his lady, and he had a legal carry. What about the other brother that walked off from the cops? He called the cops for help. They show up. He didn't like what they were saying. He was walking away with his hands up, back turned, blicked them off. The eye in the sky in the helicopter, when they videoing it, he said, that looks like a bad dude. Why? Because he was like over 6 feet, 300 pounds, walking away. That's a bad dude. It's the conditioning. When I was in the motherfucking police academy, the people in the class that were from the 5 boroughs, we were chilling. You know who had a preconceived notion about the neighborhoods they would soon be patrolling? Everybody from Long Island, Suffolk County, Nassau County. They don't come to the city much. So they're running around. When they're listening to us talk, they're like, whoa, that happens. Yeah, you might be on a post and nothing could happen in your whole tour. Because the reality is, don't nobody want no smoke with us. The biggest gang in New York is NYPD. What are you talking about? It's not the Bloods of the Crips. It's not the Latin Kings of the Nietas. It's a fucking NYPD. They really don't want no smoke. All of this is relevant, how this man handles it. My concern is that he doesn't handle it. In which, I'm not even going to hold y'all. That's going to aggravate me to no fucking end if he doesn't even speak on this. Because he's doing himself a disservice. He's doing those babies that he's raising a disservice. And whether he likes it or not, look, man, he has a responsibility to the black community. When Charles Barkley in the 90s got on that goddamn TV and the commercial said, I am not a role model. He caught hell for that. Do you know why? They said, Chuck, whether your wife is white, your mama white, you are a role model because there's kids looking up to you, man. And he knows that. That was a noble thing for you to say. Parents should be role models. But motherfucker, inadvertently, people look up to you. They look up to you. You're a role model by default. Bud needs to make noise about this. Now, what he chooses to do is up to him. But if y'all digging in my archives, I've held him accountable for shit like this a long time ago. I'm like, Bud, what's up? What's up with this? You could be the best athlete in the world, but if I have to question your integrity as a black man, that's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? That's why when these trolls come in here, you got to be real careful when you try and play the black card with me in defense of a certain fighter. Because I'll put you on Front Street and see how much you know. What are you doing as a black man? How are you contributing to the community? Do you hold yourself accountable? I don't think y'all understand, Bud, to me, whenever something like that happens, that's an attempt on his life. Now, he might think this is not that serious, but he left that scene in handcuffs, and I'm not sure there was a charge. If you leave a scene in handcuffs and it's taken to the house, as what we used to call it, that's an arrest. And for them to he let go and not charge, what were the charges for them to be leaving that scene in handcuffs in the first damn place? Was he the one driving? What happened? What was the charge? Did they book him and go to the house? Well, not. They take him to the house and say, wait a minute, man, y'all know that's Bud? Let him go. Did that happen? But what was the charge? Because if that's an officer and he justifiably locked him up for a violation, then that officer needs to stand on it. Don't come down on me. I did it by the book. But I don't hear that. And what Bud needs to do is stand on business. Now, what he needs to do and what he's going to do is two different things. But I'm going to tell you what else I'm done doing. I'm done looking at these athletes and thinking that they understand what's at stake. That's why I fell back on Andre Ward, if y'all remember. Y'all say what y'all want about Fred Hawthorne, but he was the only motherfucker that went into that top rank, the Golden Boy Conference and asked them, what's up with those emails calling Al Heyman Black Hitler? They took his credential and threw him out. And that's when he started barbershop conversations. Did y'all know that? That's what happened. He was the only person at one point grilling Eddie Hearn, grilling Victor Conti. We're talking about 2019, y'all, before the pandemic. He was in the trenches doing shit like that. So I know a lot of y'all got a problem with him. But I'm telling you, I was there at the beginning. I was watching. He was one of the people that said, yo, I was in his comment section one night, and somebody in the comment section said, yo, what they doing with Shakur's box rec? I said, what are they doing? I go to the box rec. They got his mugshot there. And we were like, oh, shit. So Fred said, yo, everyone write box rec. So somebody in the comment section switched it back to his Olympic picture, and then within the show, someone put it back to the mugshot. There's no racism. Right now, look for Sergey Kovalev or Ryan Garcia's mugshot. You won't find one. You won't. And Sergey been arrested at least 2 times on American soil. Nobody said take his money, he should never work again. Nobody said deport him. But I've seen black
Canelo gave him a huge payday after that.
Exactly. Canelo paid him $12 million, which is $2 million more than he paid.
With Kathy Duval, who was the head of Main Event, a woman, by the way, helped assist in hiding his situation and assisted with him getting off.
After he beat up a white woman.
He should have been deported for the crimes that he committed.
After he beat up Becky. It goes to show you how on code these white folk are. It's an American white woman harboring a criminal in a Russian white man, and then got him a $12 million payday up front, which is $2 million more than what Jamel Charlo got. Do y'all see why I get angry with this shit? And then when I get people saying, oh, you're always talking about race, tell me it's not. Am I lying? All of this happened. All of it happened. Fred had the woman that Kovalev beat up on his show. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Who was in the chat that night? I was there. But I understand. Nobody's perfect. But we got to stand united on something. On something. Why am I looking at this and talking about this and I still got niggers doing videos about everything that I do? Why? Focus on this shit. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. In 2025, this guy's the heart and soul and pride of where he was born and raised. He beat the fucking odds. And this is what they do to him. I understand why Floyd, yeah, he's from Michigan, but does he rep it? No. No. He took his ass to Las Vegas, and that's where he rests his head. Now, I'm upset. I'm upset that this happened. But I can't hold on to the hope that Bud or any other athlete, any black athlete that was done an obvious disservice, I can't hold on to the hope that they act a certain way, which is the correct way. Because I've been let down too many times. Now, there's going to be some niggas that are extreme Budrick fans, and they're going to tell me, Drew, it was just two cops, man, relax. Yo, listen, you relax. Because this is an ongoing theme. And when I tell you the fact that he didn't get shot or beat up is because he was Bud, that's a possibility. A strong one. How many car stops we've seen go left or heard about going left? They knew who this was, and they did what they did. Right now, I pulled up Google, and I said lynchings 2025. The AI told me there were no confirmed cases of lynching in the United States in 2025. However, there was a report of DeMartirion Trey Reed, the dude, the young man, the black student that was found hanging from a tree, Delta State University. I'm going to stop right there. Family of black student found and hanging from a tree. Black man found hanging from a tree, upstate New York. Black people lynched from the tree, lynched in recent years, 10 deaths. I want y'all to understand something. Even the AI is not catching on to what these reputable sites are talking about. When black people do commit suicide, the last thing they do is hang themselves. It's like everybody else. They're jumping off of shit or shooting themselves. Like everybody else is abnormal, they don't like their life. Hanging, and then they're brushing it off saying, hey, it was a suicide. In 2025. And we're dealing with real shit here. And when I'm talking about real shit like this, when I talk about how black athletes need to remain out of trouble, out of the public eye, speak proper English, be a role model, and if you don't want to do that, stay off the fucking radar. Stay out the clubs. Stop giving them a reason. Y'all niggas act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Let me ask you a question. What's Alexander Usyk doing right now? Anybody know? What's he doing right now? Anybody follow him on Instagram? Is he posting him in front of his Bugatti, if he has one? How many cars does he have? Where does he live? How does his house live? How does his wife look? How does his kids look? You don't know. And that man's a millionaire. You know what? When he doesn't have a fight coming up, he's not training, he goes home and he hangs out with his family, and you don't fucking see him until he's hitting the bag after a fight is signed. Now, why can't you niggas do that? And I'm not saying you don't reserve the right to do that. You do. And you reserve the right to do it in peace like everybody else. But you got to understand you're held to a different standard. Back in the day, Eddie Murphy told a joke about the club fight he had in the 80s. And the reason why he was at that club, first of all, he didn't like going to clubs. But the reason why he went was because of his damn wife at the time. We don't do nothing. We don't go out. He said, I don't like going out. I'm a target. One fucking time he goes out, he gets to a fight with this Italian guy. And you know what happened? Did you see Eddie Murphy Raw? Go watch it, you youngsters. Go watch Eddie Murphy Raw. Delirious is a classic. Eddie Murphy Delirious is a classic. But Raw was funny because he told that story. Because I remember when it made the news. He was at a club, got into a fist fight, and where he thought the brothers and sisters were going to get his back for fighting with this white guy who started it, they sued him. Oh, it's Eddie Murphy. He got money. I'm going to sue him. Yeah, he was wrestling with the guy and the bulb fell out and it hit the ground and the flash hit me in the eye and now I need $50,000. Shit like that. These are things we deal with. These are things that athletes have to deal with. Whether it's going out to the club or dealing with white supremacy. Muhammad Ali stood on something. Jack Johnson stood on something. He was a big old fucking troll. Because if Jack Johnson was around today, you know what he'd do? He'd have flipped them the bird and grabbed up a white woman and started banging her. That's how he was. As a matter of fact, Ali said, no, I stand on business, but Jack Johnson was crazy. Taking white women across state lines, he was crazy. He said, no, he was crazy. I stand on business, but Jack was crazy. That's why I got them there. So I guess the question is, look, I got love for my brothers. Y'all heard me support Bud. But I'm not blind. I'm not. I am not blind. And Bud has shown me some things. I'll say that. I know what I would like to see him do. Take those keys, return them, stand on business, sue that police department. And with that, I'd move. You could love Omaha from a distance, but they will completely understand why he hauled ass. They will completely understand. They would totally understand. Now, again, in a perfect world, he does that. But my fear is that he might not. Hey, man, I ain't starting on that. Those cops are just assholes. That's not everybody. No, we need to make an example. But I think these brothers are too scared of the trade-off. If I have to do this now, that means they're going to look towards me to be this figurehead for the rest of my life. And I don't want to deal with that because they cut the brakes in your car. They want to, not put fuel in your helicopter. And next thing you know, I'll be, death threats and shit. I don't want to deal with that. Who knows? Ali wasn't scared. And we already don't have black leaders because every time we had a black leader, or if they even thought somebody was going to rise amongst the ranks and be a positive impact on the black culture, they die. They die. Kevin Samuels. I still understand that. Kobe Bryant. Who knows who he was turning out to be? His helicopter falls out the sky. That was some bullshit. And it goes on. Dr. Sebi. What the fuck was that? So it's like every time somebody looks like they're about to come out the ranks, something crazy happens. Flint, Michigan, from what I understand, to fix the fracking issue over there, they turning on their water pipes and fire blowing out that shit. I heard that it's really not that much money to fix it. So I said, man, that means one MLB player and one NFL player could put some money together and fix it. Somebody from the Detroit Lions can't do that. You know why? I have it on good authority. They were told to mind their fucking business. Business? We thought this was a mechanical mistake. What do you mean? No, mind your business. Because what's being done is a business. Stay out of it, or the next time you might miss your plane with your team going to a city, and when you take your private jet, that fucker might fall out the sky. Y'all are not thinking, and y'all are not prepared to have these conversations because y'all are afraid. All I want is for Bud to stand on business. Will he do it? I don't know. Go ahead, Stormy.
No, I mean, I've been listening the whole time because I still got my earpiece linked up, and you're not wrong in what you're saying. I don't know what it's going to take. You heard me mention that he should reach out to the minister. Because he needs representation. The proper representation can speak on his behalf, speak to the notion of what has transpired.
Do not block him. Do not block him. I'm going to address him. Go ahead, Stormy.
Speak to what this means for the nation. Like I said, the message is being sent to us all. There was a time during enslavement where the slave masters would take the biggest, strongest, most virile of the enslaved captives and bring them center stage and make everyone watch while they raped them, beat them, castrated them, did all types of heinous acts to that one representative within the camp. And that was to not only instill fear into those observers, but it was also to strip away your dignity of you having pride for self and also love and concern for your others, to the degree that you would even give up one of the others because of what happened to that one when they would do wrong, speak wrong, misbehave, or whatever, according to the slave master's law of the land. And it kept dissension amongst the people within the plantation. And they worked together, but they were never together. And then they would take your children when they're born and ship them off to somewhere else. So you have no attachments. But then the mothers who gave suck would have to raise the slave master's children and nurse them and care for them. All of this gave a sense of indignation and non-consideration for your own. And it was done for hundreds of years. It did a number on you psychologically. And when you don't understand the history of this, then you can't think for yourself and what's in your best interest. Notice that I said he needs representation. That doesn't mean he's sick, he's ill, or anything like that, or even incapable. What it means is that someone can articulate what the directive is. And see, we've spoken about what this really means. Regardless of what he thinks personally, that representation is going to operate in the most prominent and acute manner. It's like they will address what needs to be addressed, and he can move forward with his life and everything. But it should happen. It should. It's a highly recommended situation. It's more than likely not going to transpire. But when you all are hearing what I'm saying here, it is to call to your sensibilities that you start thinking of yourself in that way too. You know, because this can happen to any of us at any given time. When you walk outside your door, when you get into your vehicle.
All right. I'm going to address, let me read the super chat. I'm going to address everything this person said. CJ Rich in that super chat, salute. He says, what up, Drew and Stormy? We got to have uncomfortable conversations sometimes. Bud is guilty of unforgivable blackness, of course, and he can't help that. Now, this brother named Discernment, he said this. Well, let me go back up here. Bud is not going to push the issue. He's going to let it go, unfortunately. I hope not. He says, why should Bud take a stance for Black America when he got booed in his own home country a couple of weeks ago and bitter Black boxing content creators constantly bash him? Let me address this. Am I a bitter Black content creator who bashed him? Let me help you out. No. No, you can check my work. No. I don't need to bash him. I hold all fighters here accountable. And stop acting like Bud is the only Black American fighter that gets booed. There's a fighter that we speak on behalf of by the name of Devin Haney. He gets booed everywhere by Black content creators, Black media. And he's the one that got done a disservice. He got a no contest on his record right now. Have you forgot? Or did you even know? Because I noticed your avatar, that's Bud standing there. So I'm not going to call you a Bud stan. You're just probably a strong supporter. And you're entitled to do that. But Black fighters getting booed in their own country, that's not new. It's consistent. It's very consistent. So I don't fit the mold of Black content creators. For every Black content creator that bashes Bud, according to you, there's Black content creators that stand up for Bud. So I hope I'm clear on that. No, well, you know that. And if you talk about one of my brothers in particular, it's not bashing prior to that. It's not bashing at all. It's his opinion, and he bases his opinion off the facts. Now, his approach you might not agree with, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. Now, let me ask you this, Discernment. When Bob Arum said the amount of money I lost on Bud, I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. What did Drew Titan say? What did Stormy B-Man say? I'm going to tell you what we said. Bud, get the hell away from that guy. He violated. When he said he killed the Manny Pacquiao fight and gave it to Jeff Horn and literally sent Manny Pacquiao to Australia to lose to Jeff Horn while saying, I killed the fight because Manny's a nice guy. You tried to get Manny to pass the torch to a white Australian rather than your Black prodigy. And then we said, Bud, man, what's up with that? Bud said, man, y'all don't know his heart. Yes, we do. Okay, Bud. What, we wasn't supposed to say anything? You know what we did? We backed off. We said, oh, shit. Word, Bud? Discernment. Did you agree with Bud when he said that? Another thing you said. There are so many black boxing YouTube content creators. Don't come over here talking to me about any other black content creators. You're here. And I got subscribers mode only. So 4 people just subscribe to talk. So I'm watching. You're here. Now I've been super respectful to Bud. I talked him up throughout his journey. I got on code, but I didn't forget how he behaved. That Bob Arum thing was crazy. As a matter of fact, he started to sue Bob Arum, and it went away. I just asked one time, what happened to the lawsuit? Nobody want to talk about it, and I moved on. So I don't know who spends hours bashing Bud, but go to that person and deal with it. Because I don't do it. I've done nothing but talk him up. Because Bud beat their favorite fighter? Are you talking to me? I know where you're trying to go, and I know who you're talking about. It ain't here. Go over to him. And this is what I want you to understand this. This is what I'm talking. This is why we can't be on code. Because I got to bring conversations like this to light. Bud was done a disservice. This man is on a black channel with a Bud avatar trying to check me and talk about somebody else. He says, I see y'all so woke, you are sleeping. Bud has Mexican fans. So what? It was a childhood friend that sung his walkout song. Who cares? We're talking about this brother, an attempt on his life, because that's what it was. Discernment. Are you that much of a fan to look past what Bud has done wrong? And you really don't know where you're at. You just know who I'm friends with. But if you go to my content, you see leading up to the Canelo fight, I was Team Bud. Never mind what he said about Bob Arum. Never mind how Bob Arum chose a white Australian over him. Never mind Bob Arum saying, hey, man, I killed the fight because I know how it ends. And then we say, Bud, what's up with that? Oh, you don't know his heart. None of that came up until this moment. You thought I forgot? Discernment. Don't use anything to make a personal point, because you have a personal problem with one person, because I don't listen to anybody else. It's LDBC or nothing, and salute the champ side.
I'd like to ask Discernment, that last comment that you highlighted of his, talking about, I see y'all so woke, you are sleeping. The point that you made about Bud's childhood friend, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? See, here you come with more chaos, trying to get us off track of what we were talking about.
He's an agent.
Now, there's been no personal attacks or affronts or anything, but I just would like to know, what the hell do you want here? Why don't you go make your own video? Why don't you go and build your own stage and express what your thoughts and feelings are?
Yep.
Because what we're doing over here are having a serious discussion about someone who was violated. You understand that, son? A man who was violated in a time of celebration and dedication, and it was his birthday.
Yep.
And he was assaulted improperly by police.
That's right.
What the hell does what you asked and the comments that you made have to do with anything that we're discussing here?
Nothing. Let me speak in plain English. He's mad at BFTB. You think
I
I
don't
can't read between the
care.
lines?
I don't care. No. But see, this is why he should take to task whatever he's trying to express to where it needs to go. It doesn't belong here.
That's right.
In other words, now I've held my peace. Get the fuck out of here.
Goodbye. Blocked. Blocked. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Damn.
You came here to derail the fucking conversation. We're speaking up on behalf of this brother. Now, I don't know what this brother's gonna do. I hope he returns those keys to the city. I hope he makes a big enough deal out of this where he shuts them down and says, no, you don't treat me like this. I hope he makes a big deal out of this. Will he do it? I don't know. I'm concerned because I remember the Bob Arum situation. Now, leading up to this fight with Canelo, you never heard me bring up the faults. You never did. You never did. I said, look, Bud's all wrong for Canelo. Bud's gonna win because of this. I hope Bud becomes a three division in a four belt era undisputed. It's Team Bud. I said that. Me, I don't give a fuck about what anyone said, whether they're friend or foe. I don't know what any other Bud hating channels. And if you want to call my brother BFTB a Bud hater, go to him and say that shit. I know that's who you was talking about. But even that falls short. Through all of his things that he said, what did he say? I hope Bud wins. I just don't think he's going to. So what is your problem? You didn't have a problem. Here's what I'm saying. When I say these people are not your friend, but they'll try and say something to get you to calm, or approach it calmly. He said this, Bud is not going to push the issue. He's going to let it go, unfortunately. You don't know that, or you understand that Bud can be off code, which is why you said this. So if this is a violation and I'm saying, hey, man, he need to do something, does that make me a hater or does that make me understand the potential in Bud not doing anything and why it's unfortunate? And then you took it and made it, oh, but y'all be hating on Bud. We don't hate on Bud. We tell the truth about him. And I've been supporting this dude and I ain't bring up the past at all. And then here you come with a personal gripe. Go to the channels that hate on Bud. It ain't been here. Because anytime I talk about a fighter and I take this position, guess what? It's all justified with everybody. And this is how I know it's a personal gripe. When you said, where's that? This. Bashing Bud because he beat their favorite fighter. Who's my favorite fighter? Canelo? Errol? Bud is undefeated. He beat a bunch of people. You have a personal gripe. And ladies and gentlemen, here's what you need to know. This is why black people will never fucking get along. You have a personal issue. The Klan could be right there with pitchforks, and there's 5 of us with semi-automatic weapons. I'm like, yo, we could win this. But this nigga right here got a personal problem with me. He'll shoot me. We got the equal amount of bullets for these dudes. 1 bullet per Klansman. We could win this. 1 Klanman will survive because there'll be a nigga that has a personal gripe against me. We can't get along for shit. It's organized confusion. Now here I am talking about what Bud should do because he was done a disservice. I'll be damned. I'm still in here talking this brother up. And I still had a nigga come through here and do this. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? This is the shit I'm talking about. Organized confusion. He started talking about, oh, Bud's friends are Mexicans. Man, listen, I don't care. Means nothing. Where was his Mexican friends when he was getting the cuffs put on him? Is any of his Mexican friends going to get on the Spanish channel? Mira, this is what happened to Bud. I was there. Irrelevant. He was done a disservice. This is a hero. He's done something in this era that no one has done. And he just got arrested on his birthday. And we here talking about it. And you come in here articulate with a personal gripe. You want to talk about code? Get a clue. Don't ever come back to my channel again. This is why I got trust issues. Using my forum, this situation, to air out a personal gripe. Don't care. God damn it. You niggas are awful. What are we arguing over? I mean, really think about it. That's why I highlighted it. I needed y'all to see that. What is this? We're speaking up for Bud. Bud ain't gonna do anything, unfortunately. You don't know that. Oh, why should Bud stand up for black people when he gets booed by his own people? Like every black American fighter. Deontay got booed. Devin got booed. Bud gets booed. I'm sure if Errol was facing Miguel Sanchez, he'll get booed if the fight's not in Dallas. The Charlos get booed when all they were doing was winning at one point. Charlo was about to, he had a draw and was about to rematch the Argentinian dude, and at the goddamn press conference, they booed him on American soil. He was like, USA, and this bitch says, man, nobody even wants you here. With an American accent, which means that bitch is probably second or third generation Argentinian. Born here, don't need a green card, but grandma does. But in her heart of hearts, she ain't American like him. She said, nobody even wants you here. I did a video about that. I said, look at that shit. They accepted Tyson Fury on American soil. The drunk, drug cheat, glove cheat, friends with a goddamn mobster. They accepted him here over our black American champion. To this day, he can't even come here on American soil because he's not allowed. But y'all don't want to talk about anything. Devin Haney, oh, I can't unsee the left hook. Stop acting like what happened to Bud is isolated to him. You're a fangirl, and you tried to camouflage it. Bad job. I picked it up immediately. You know what gave you away? In 2 seconds, your avatar is Bud. You niggas really need to stop. You niggas make me sick. You niggas need to go away. Personal gripes over the big picture. What happened to Bud is the big picture. So even if I was a hater channel and I'm standing on business now, stand on the fucking business. Idiot. I get tired of us. Lomachenko, Triple G, Sergey Kovalev, Tyson Fury. They tried to put it on the Duke, Tommy Morrison. He said, no, thank you. Salute to him. Rest in peace to him. Dmitry Pirog. Ricky Hatton. They booed Floyd when Ricky Hatton was fighting him in Vegas. What you mean? Stop acting like what happened to Bud was just him. You don't know the sport. You know Bud. Dummy. We've been talking about this. Where were you when Golden Boy was calling Al Heyman Black Hitler? Where were you? I know you can't talk because you blocked. We've been standing in the pocket for black boxers for a long time. Where were you when they said, oh man, Andre Ward, man, stop bullying Gennady Golovkin, go up and fight Sergey Kovalev? But they tried to get Triple G to, they tried to bait Floyd Mayweather to come up to 160 to fight Triple G. But told Andre Ward, who's in one weight class up, stop bullying Little G when Little G was about to go fight Cesar Chavez Jr. He tried to do it twice. Told Ward, stop bullying him. Go up to fight Sergey Kovalev. And he did it. And won twice. Oh, he hasn't done anything. He's always hurt. I said he won the Super 6. Oh, that was 1 million years ago. Well, you know it was 2 million years ago? Triple G and Lomachenko's goddamn amateur career. Because I swear to God, that's one of the major marketing ploys. They send these Europeans over here. Oh, he got 2,000 amateur wins in a row. What? Who cares? That's the amateurs. Comes over here, loses his second pro fight. And then they want to act like the shit ain't happened. Huh? Y'all want to see what white supremacy does? What's that? Vasily Lomachenko, 14 wins, no losses, 10 KOs. Wait a minute. 2 comes before 14. I got on BoxRec. I said, did they overturn the Orlando Salido loss? No. There it is right there. They did this 2 times. And they ain't tell them to get it back in blood. You see, things like get it back in blood and email champion, that applies to black fighters.
Unified, undisputed.
Unified, undisputed, and undefeated.
Yeah, unified, undefeated.
Unified, undefeated. I'm like, what the fuck? I know he's at least 10 fights up, and he lost one. And who's saying it? A black dude. And who don't know any better. You let them tell it, though. In the school books in Texas, you know what they tried to do? They tried to say Africans migrated to America for a better way of life. And people read that and was like, what? They can't mean slavery. Oh, we don't want to talk about slavery. Let's not talk about it no more. It's a part of American history. Tell a Jew not to talk about the Holocaust anymore and see what happens to you. You saw what they did to Kyrie Irving. He had to cut a check. He had to get sensitivity training and talk with their leaders. Now, we get violated every fucking day. The people who are caught violating, who are they supposed to talk to? Al Sharpton? Tariq Nasheed? Who? Who are our fucking leaders? Who are they cutting a check to? We're in disarray. We have no leaders. We have no unity. Where in the fuck does this make sense? I'm supposed to celebrate the life of fucking Ricky Hatton when he helped this fucking fat faggot cheat? And then they made this statue? When have you ever seen a celebration of anybody that did anything standing over the person they conquered? Under suspected circumstances. Not suspected, the motherfucker cheated. And I'm supposed to celebrate this man's life? Fuck this dude. You out your mind. Now we got all of this shit going on, and I get an idiot coming up here, yo, well, there's people hating on Bud. Man, you better wake up and smell the failure. It ain't about you. It's not even only about Bud. This is typical. That's why I got Ali saying this is typical. And the more we fighting amongst each other, we ain't gonna get nowhere. You came in here to say, oh man, people hating on Bud. People hating on Bud. Bud almost got killed. You didn't even realize it. Oh, but no shots were fired or whatever. Man, they were itching for it. I heard they came to the goddamn car with the guns out. If that was Tommy Morrison, Paulie Malignaggi, or Vasily Lomachenko, any guy, Ruzin Pavatnikov, Sergey Kovalev, they just said, oh, Sergey? Okay, drive safe. You niggas need to wake up. Harlem, Gerard in the building. Harlem, salute, bro. He says, as soon as the two words are together, hate on, it tells the age, character, and motive of that person. Nothing else needs to be said. Exactly. And I let him rock because I wanted y'all to see that. I let him rock because I wanted y'all to see that. He thought he was really saying something of substance. He has a personal gripe because everywhere he went, somebody was saying something about Bud he didn't appreciate it. This ain't the time for that. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to remind you to you Tank fans, when his wife did that to him, check my resume. I said, no, she wrong. She wrong. She tried to get that young man killed. She's wrong for that. That had nothing to do with boxing. I said, no. She's wrong for that. Meanwhile, you Tank fans, when what happened with Devin and Ryan Garcia, what did y'all do? The first thing you did was laugh. Some of you assholes called me at 5 in the morning. Karma. Dumb Southern country bumpkin ass. I said, what are you doing calling me 5 in the morning? What was wrong with you? Karma. And then when we found out everything, I got to St. Martin and got a phone call. Yo, the dude cheated. Don't say nothing yet. I said, God, no. God, no. Well, it turns out he did. And then he has a racist meltdown. Well, I was rooting for Tank beating up on Ryan. Y'all was rooting for Ryan to beat up on Devin after he done missed weight and everything. Then you found out he's a drug cheat, right? And then the drugs don't do anything. The Ostarine don't do anything. Then he lied about taking Ostarine. And then he lied about this drug and that drug. And then you find out he's a racist. And y'all still can't unsee the left hook. Do not come here and try and talk about me being on code. Not when you niggas are doing that. Of all shapes, sizes, and ages. I've seen all of you. There's a lot of people that don't come around here no more.
Now check this out. You know how they like to say, and they said it a ton when Bud and Canelo's fight was about to happen. Their weight classes for a reason, right? Well, Devin had been undisputed at 135. Then he won a title defeating Regis Prograde at 140. Ryan had faced Tank Davis at 135, and Tank Davis put that rehydration clause on Ryan because Ryan had not been campaigning at 135. He had been fighting above it for a minute. So the Tank Davis camp looked like scholars for doing that to Ryan. And they complained about it, remember? They complained.
Yeah, they sure did.
However, when Devin fought Ryan, it was supposed to be for Devin's 140-pound title. Ryan intentionally didn't make weight. Devin made the weight cut.
Yep.
They had brought in Arnold Barbosa Jr., who was fighting on the undercard, as a plan B in the case that Ryan went off rails because he had been misbehaving and everything leading up to the fight. When Ryan didn't make the weight at the weigh-in, he could no longer win the title if he was victorious. But Devin made the weight cut, so that means that Devin fought according to the contractual agreement. That also meant that he could defend his title and retain his title. We've seen fighters lose their titles on the scale. So, by not making the weight cut, Ryan had an unfair advantage. Because as they rehydrate, and there was no rehydration clause, Ryan could balloon up to whatever weight. And even though Devin did make the weight cut, his rehydration would only be a certain amount because he made the cut. So then the fight transpired. There were people who talked about Ryan, how big he looked in that fight.
That nigga was
Now,
like 190 pounds, man.
Devin had always talked to other fighters, telling them leading up to their fights, "You're too small. You're too small." But he wasn't saying that from necessarily just size and weight or whatever. He was talking about his stature. He was talking about his ability and things of that nature. What they happened to overlook with Ryan was this: when a person had no intention of making the weight. This is hindsight being 2020, of course. Now it'll never happen to them again. But when he never had any intention of making the weight, you're coming in with an unfair advantage. Now, when you factor in post-fight that PEDs were a part of the process as well, you've had a compound complex circumstance that you should never consider Ryan with the fight with Devin, because in no shape, form, or fashion was that what they had agreed to. It would be different had they agreed to it. They did have some kind of a thing where they said if he doesn't make weight, he has to fork over a certain amount of money or whatever. There you go, Dixie Freely. Ryan cheated 2 times over the weight and the PEDs.
Okay, that's right.
And so when you factor that in, there is no consideration for him whatsoever, because this isn't parlay, free for all. These are the Marcus of Queensberry rules, and he did not follow them. So all of those people who wanted to see Devin lose and all of that kind of stuff, cry a river, because you had one man who met his responsibility and another who had no intention of doing so.
That's right.
And to be perfectly honest, Tank Davis and his camp knew that about Ryan. They really did. See, Devin don't have time to be watching you guys out here and everything and listening to everything that people say and whatnot. He lives his life and he trains. Ryan had been in certain places where people had, and Tank had people watching him. He had put people into Ryan's camp and everything, which is why he was able to tell him at their weigh-in, "Oh, I know you didn't eat breakfast this morning," and it's so all of those kind of things. You see, when you have viable information, then you can support and substantiate your position. But when you're ignorant, when you've done no research, when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you sound like discernment coming in here. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying all of that to say simply that with everything that transpired with Bud's situation, we have garnered the fact that this is a message being sent out. You don't get too high on your horse because this N-word has success in the sport of boxing, because we will still bring you down. Remember, I had said last week, I said he needs to be celebrated. He needs to be uplifted because he is the fighter of this generation. And I said all of these positive things. If you don't think these people be listening to us and watching, this is more proof of it, because they know who that man is. They're in the same damn city with him and the town, and there's not a lot of black men running around in a caravan of vehicles like he was, enjoying the spoils of what he was enjoying and everything, and they not know who they're dealing with. And to draw guns on him, that is a violation of both his human and civil right, and those men need to be punished for that. They need to be punished. Damn suspensions. Fire
their ass.
And kick their asses out of Omaha.
Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. For those of you that forgot, Pay attention.
Well, should Rolly Romero be successful against Ismael Barroza, that should set up a fight between him and King Ryan Garcia. In my opinion, Ryan Garcia shouldn't be focused on Rolly Romero, although they do have a slight history. He should be worried about Senpatar Ibradabat. That's the guy that stopped him to the body during camp.
Are you okay?
That's a deeper storyline, and it makes more sense. Both men lost to Tank Davis by knockout, but I think there's marketability for King Ryan if he faces the guy that stopped him to the body in camp. Are you okay? Yeah, that guy. So Rolly should be successful, but there's other directions for him to go other than Ryan Garcia, although that does make for a fun fight to watch. With Ryan, you need to go get your lick back from Senpatar. I'd be interested in seeing that. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Y'all forgot? Y'all forgot, or were y'all even paying attention? That's the dude that busts his body up. He's the reason why Ryan lost to a body shot. Y'all forgot? Ryan never said he was a liar. He said, yeah, he really did it. Yeah. Okay, but I don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. It's okay. But this is the typical treatment. And Stormy, I knew somebody was gonna come in here and do it. I was hoping not, but I knew somebody was gonna come in here with a personal gripe and try and use this unfortunate situation to stand on a personal argument, which is ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying. These clowns they have no clue what a bigger picture is. They don't know when to shut up. There's a whole lot of things I could hold over a lot of people's heads, but when it comes to things like this, you got to put that to the side. If not, forget about it. At no point did I keep bringing up what he said about Bob Arum while he's trying to get ready to beat Canelo. You never heard me say it. You cats are amazing. I ain't here talking about, what other channels say. I don't give a fuck what other channels say. It's about what I'm talking about here. Go take it up with them if you choose to. And if it's unproductive, don't go over there. You have options. There's an X button over there. There's a back button. There's a do not recommend. You have options. But a dude is trying to come to me and talk about code, encoded words. Meanwhile, he got an avatar of Bud? Dude, that's gay. But that's a whole other topic. That's a whole other topic. Please leave me alone. Guys, this is crazy. This is crazy. Anytime somebody wants to tick you off, all they got to do is say something about a fan that you unconditionally de-blow.
Oh, he bit the bait.
And then you hear screaming and hollering. Well, salute the Bud. I'm glad you're okay. What you do is your business, but I hope you stand on business. But if you don't, I'm going to say it's typical. Because gone are the days of guys like Ali and Jack Johnson. Man, gone. I don't look to them to do anything that needs to be done. Hope he does, but I won't be shocked if he does not. Just know that this was an attempt on his life. And all of y'all might be saying, hey, man, it's not that deep. He was removed from the vehicle. The conversation of firearms was discussed. He was arrested and then released. They were making an example of him, and they were hoping he acted up because those are weapons he has attached to his body. How would y'all have felt if we got out of bed this morning and found out he was gunned down? Oh, he got out the car swinging and fighting, but there's no body cam footage. Let me tell you how stupid and off code you idiots are. Y'all remember when Errol crashed up his car? I was still on Facebook when that happened. The first thing I heard was a fake article talking about he was gunned down in a gang violence incident. And then when I called Black Fight Fan, he said he's on his way to the hospital to find out what's going on. But he had a car accident. I said, what? And then I'm in this Facebook group. They was like, yo, he was more than likely drunk before we even knew the facts. And then I was reading things like good for him. Huh? Good for him? I don't understand. Why good for him? Oh, because he could have killed somebody else. Well, he didn't. And he was flung from the vehicle. The man has kids. What do you mean good for him? You guys are trash. You guys are trash. You guys are trash. But that's all right. Because y'all going to get what y'all asking for. Closing words, Stormy.
Once again, I feel that this is a call to action, that people start being proactive in their thought process about what we face on a day in and day out basis with the enemy. The enemy will forever remind you of where your place is, and your place is not alive. They don't want you here, but you are here, so you have to defend your position. You don't have to go looking for anything, but you should be prepared to defend your position, because again, the aggression is out there. They've got people in certain places of office and everything where they're trying to make it green lit to just misbehave and go against what your rights are. You need to understand that. You need to be proactive in your mindset and what to do about that. Those are my thoughts at this time. And I'm just asking people to be prepared for it.
My closing thoughts is this. I love my people to a fault. And I'm not going to please everybody with the things I say, and I don't try to. I expect excellence from us. Grinds my gears when I'm trying to take care of things like this and shine a light on things like this. I get sidetracked by nigger nonsense. So much to the point where I dedicated a whole day of my show to address ignorance, called Monkey Tuesday. Y'all know who y'all are. If you don't like what I have to say, great. If you like what I have to say, great. I've been 100% consistent since I started my channel. My growth is consistent. I didn't buy nothing. It's a slow grind, but I stand on business. And in reference to Bud, I'm standing on business. Will he do what he needs to do? That's entirely up to him. But I already told you what my fear is. Because a lot of us don't have a backbone and our leaders are gone, to the point where when you have someone emerging to take the lead because you won't, to do something because you're afraid, you would rather cut down the person that's taking the initiative than to take the initiative yourself because you're a coward. See y'all in the morning, man.
Move!
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.